All right, lads and lasses, and good day, mates. Welcome to another episode of the Tune Under podcast, the Southern Hemisphere's #1 podcast for all things Newcastle United. How's everyone doing? How's your Monday going? It is, what time is it? 8:15 at night in the original upside down of Australia, not New Zealand, as some people thought for some reason. I mean, the logo is a bit of a clue. You know, it's Australia, not New Zealand. Yeah, hope everyone's all right. We are sitting here all nice and comfortable, waiting for some news on some transfers. Kind of hoping like that be that Dior be down the wing. Maybe even Bruno's best mate might join us. You never know. God forbid, I hope we get a striker. Jesus Christ. But in the meantime, we thought we'd have a little bit of fun and attempt to pick our Premier League best Newcastle 11. So before we get into what is likely to be just 30 minutes of arguing between ourselves and shouting at each other, let's get some quick hellos from the lads joining me today. And I'm going to start with Craggy in still quite sweaty Cairns, I think. Crag, is that right? Even though it's the dead of winter, how are you going, mate?
Winter's day, 26 degrees. I'm going, can you mate yourself?
I've been bloody freezing all day, thank you very much. I'm actually freezing. Well, I was freezing a minute until I put this plastic. You know how these Umbro shirts from like 91 or something, they're just basically placker. Like if you get in the fire, you're stuffed. You just go like that. Just walk around a ball of flames, basically. So I put this on, and I'm absolutely boiling. So I should just wear this all the time, to be honest with you. I'm absolutely sweating in this thing. It's a nightmare to play in. Yeah, good. Who else we got? Keegan, mate, you're a little bit of a late stand-in, aren't you, for our Bobby? I think he's basically pussied out of this one. I don't think he wanted to. I don't think he wanted to argue about that AFL loss at the weekend. How are you going, mate?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. I'm still a bit filthy about my team losing to Dimmy's team at the weekend as well. Dimmy, you got a big grin on your face, mate. How are you doing?
Good, mate. It's good to see that the Dons got up yesterday, especially against the mercenary-led Brisbane Lions.
Get out of it, mercenary-led.
Mate, we're not going to talk about this on air, but let's just say 2 Meter Peter got the last laugh. Let's just say that.
Yeah, but we had 7 main blokes out, mate. So come on, you won by 10 points. 7 blokes out, are we? And by the way, you like to think yourself as a bit of a Nostradimmy, didn't you? But before that game, even at half time when we were losing and you were winning, you were like, nah, you're gonna win. I mean, for a clairvoyant, you're pretty shit at this gig, aren't you?
Reverse jinx. That was a pure reverse jinx. I was hoping on all hope that we were going to win, and that's exactly why we did that. Why I said that.
Absolute bollocks. All right. Anyway, that's enough talking about egg chasing. This is about real football. So let's take a little break, and we'll get into what is going to be just a bunch of arguing, I think. And we'll start talking about our best 11. Here we go. All right, so as everyone knows, football was invented in the early 1990s by Rupert Murdoch. The story goes basically that, one day, poor little Rupert, he's there at home in his massive palace, bored out of his tits. He's thinking, how the hell do I pass the time? I've got everything I need. I'm absolutely bored. What am I going to do? And he thinks, nah, I'm going to grab all them $10, $100 notes just lying around the place because I've got tons of them. I'm going to roll them up in this big bloody ball. And I'm going to kick them straight at the servants. I'm going to see if I can hit them in the nuts. That's what I'm going to do. What a load of fun. Well, fast forward 30 years. I've been thinking of this all day. Fast forward 30 years, and the balls are now filled with air, and the poor servants are replaced by multi-millionaire players. But don't worry, kids. Old Rupert is still making shit tons of money out of this invention. And who are we to fly in the face of progress? So we're only going to be talking about players that played in the Premier League for Newcastle United. That was a long way of saying we're just going to pick Premier League players. I thought all day about that. That was quite a good story.
It was.
All right. So this is how we're going to do this. I'm going to start showing slides of each position in our 11, starting from the back all the way to the front. To keep things simple, we're going to assume we're doing a 4-4-2. Mostly, we'll just be picking one player per position, but there will be positions where we need to pick 2. We're going to pick from a curated list of names that Craigie over here has pulled together with a few very basic stats So, if you're out there listening or watching this and you think he's done an absolutely terrible job, hop on the internet and let him know. Don't worry about it. But lads, if there was a player that Craig hasn't mentioned, hasn't shown on the slides, I don't mind you diving in with your own suggestion. Just, keep it to the guys that probably would stand a chance of winning. Different stick in, De Jongs or something in the striker department, because you're not going to get anywhere and you're just going to waste everyone's time, man. We haven't got time for it. My role is basically going to be just to keep the conversation going. I'm going to read out each player from the positions being considered first. That's for the benefit of those listening on audio. We'll then argue until we agree on a player or players. It's a bit like NATO, just without the agreeing part. So that should be fun. We'll have only a few minutes to discuss each position. And at the end of the allotted time, I will sound this noise. And I've already been pounding that before we went on air. So everyone's already absolutely sick of that noise. I'll just do it one more time. There you go. Brilliant, that, isn't it? So finally, at the end, I'll read out what our final team is, if I've managed to keep track of it as we go along. And yeah, so all we've got to do right now is get started. So here we go. First of all, does everyone understand the rules, lads? Do you understand what we're doing here?
Aye. All
right. Let's start off with the first slide. Now, this should be a nice, easy one to ease us into the actual process here. He says, so this is the position of goalkeeper. So I'm going to read them out. So we start with Pavel Cernacek. We have Shea Given, Tim Krul, and our current keeper, Martin Dubravka. I'm going to start alphabetically. Why not? And I'll start with you, Craig. Who do you like out of that list? Who's your favourite?
Pav Cernacek is a close second, but it has to be Shea Given, doesn't it? Just those appearances and clean sheets alone put him head and shoulders above the competition, I reckon.
Well, let's read those out. So Cernacek's got 90 appearances and 34 clean sheets. Shea Given's got 355 appearances. I think these are all just for in the Premier League, aren't they, Craig?
Aye.
355 appearances and 86 clean sheets. Then you've got Tim Krul on 160 and 43, and Dubravka on 127 and 37 clean sheets. 127 for Dubravka already. That's quite surprising. Yeah, so one for Shea Given. That's not much of a surprise. In fact, I'm just going to move down the screen here. Dimmy, who do you fancy?
Clearly Shea Given. He was a sensational player. Saved us points week in, week out. It's, no disrespect to, as Craig said, to Pavel, or even I thought Tim Krul was underrated for what he did for us, but I think Shea is the clear number one.
He was class, wasn't he, Shea Given? I do like old Pav there, late grade Pav Cernacek, but Keegan, are you going to upset the apple cart as the saying goes, or are you going to stick to Shea Given as well? What do you reckon?
No, I think we'll stick with Given, and I got a feeling we'll be civil at the start and we'll be civil at the end. and it's going to be hell to pay during the middle of it all.
Yeah, all right. So as I thought, first of all, let's say goalkeeper is definitely Seamus Given. All right. I knew that'd be easy. Let's move on to what should be left back if I've got these things in order, and I do. So 4 more choices again, lads. John Beresford with 137 appearances, 2 goals and 9 assists. You've got Jose Enrique, who is still the best keeper I've ever seen at St. James's Park. He's got 119 appearances, 1 goal and 8 assists. His shirt was absolutely massive. It was like the Angel of the North, wasn't it? It was a frigging giant Rainer shirt, wasn't it? It was huge. Ollie Bernard, 102 appearances, 6 goals, 5 assists, 1 football in the face. God, I'll never forget that time he fell on his arse. I think, was it Robert who tried to do a cross and he just blammed the ball right into his chops, and he was all like,
nearly decapitated him.
Knocked him in the next week.
Yeah, commentator was in tears. I remember that one so well. And then we've got Paul Dummett there, 191 appearances, 3 goals and 0 assists. No Matt Ritchie. Fancy that. So I went to Craig first. I'll go with Dimmy next. Dimmy, who are you picking out of that list?
I'm going to be a little bit controversial here. Probably going to show my age, obviously being during Beresford. I've seen a lot of Beresford's highlights. Obviously, his record speaks for himself. But I wasn't born when he first started. Let's just put that out there. And I was up to 6 years old when he was still at the club. So I'm going to go with Jose Enrique. I think his his performances were very underrated for the club. I thought he was sensational when we got relegated. He scored that wonderful goal against Forest, which virtually promoted us. And I think his quality and his drive on the left-hand side, on the left-hand side of the pitch was something that I haven't seen since, or probably before that either. So I'm going to go, a bit of a left field one and Jose Enrique.
Left field, like it. All right, Keegan. What do you reckon?
I'm going for Olivier Bernard.
Oh God, this is the first argument coming here, isn't it? All right, so you're going for Olivier Bernard.
Yeah, so I think my reason for that was he was a left back during one of our most successful and attacking periods that we played. Dummett, I don't think he's done enough, and a few of his seasons have been in the championship anyway, so that sort of ruled him out. The start of Beresford's career, he was in Division 1 as well. So you can take a couple of, because this is our Premier League 11, remember, not our all-time 11. So a couple of his seasons are actually wiped out because they weren't actually in the Premier League. And yeah, I just think I like Bernard's attacking play more than Enrique's as well. So that's my reason for picking Olivier.
Olivier Bernard. All right, fair enough. So we've got one for Jose, we've got one for Olivier. Why don't we do a simple majority wins thing instead then? So Craig, you could have the deciding vote here, unless you're going to pick someone else to be right awkward. So who have you got?
I am going to go and side with Keegan. I'm going to go with Ollie Bernard.
Smart man.
Yeah.
You bloody kids, honestly.
If you look at his appearances to goals and assists, he's got 35 games less than Beresford, but he's got the same total of goals and assists combined, 11. And as a left back, bombing forward, and that partnership you had with Robert was pretty iconic and one that I remember quite fondly, to be honest. So yeah, Ollie Bernard for me.
Unbelievable. I can't believe I'm playing Ollie Bernard for left back here. Fair enough. I would have said John Beresford, but I'm absolutely ancient. And Beresford with his magnificent, magisterial hair flapping around in the wind. Oh, it was a sight to behold, man. It's like a king penguin running down the wing. His hair all over the place. He was a brilliant player, was John Beresford. But yeah, all right. Craig has swung it to Ollie Bernard. There you go. First of many surprises, I have a feeling. All right, let's move on then. Centre back. So now we've got 6 choices from Craig here. We've got Philippe Albert, 96 appearances, 8 goals and 10 assists. Fabrizio Colaccini, 211 appearances, 4 goals and 1 assist. You got Jonathan Woodgate, 18 appearances, 0 goals and 0 assists. Terrible injury record, unfortunately. Nikos Dabazas, Dimmy's mate, 130 appearances, 11 goals, 0 assists. Darren Peacock, 131 appearances, 1 goal, 5 assists, and Timmy's other mate, Jamal Lascelles, appearances, 152, 9 goals, and 1 assist. Keegan, you get the honour of going first. Who do you fancy out of that lot?
All right, Dimmy, don't hate me. I'm not picking any of your mates, so don't hate me.
Oh, by the way, you can pick 2 out of this. I forgot to mention you can pick 2 out of here.
All right, my 2 are Philippe Albert and Fabrizio Colaccini. And Jonathan Woodgate's probably stiffer than a wanker's hanky, but he didn't play enough to get in. So,
sorry, you've beaten Craig to this phrase today. Oh,
well done. I love that one.
You're going for, sorry, what was that again?
Albert and Colaccini.
Albert and Colaccini. I'm going to make a note of that. Craig, you're up next.
I am going to be a little bit controversial here. We'll have Colaccini as my first choice. And even though he didn't play as many games as he should have due to his injury record, he's probably head and shoulders above everybody else on that list, and that is Jonathan Woodgate.
Wait, not in the injury room, he's not though, is he?
He's an absolute beast of a man when he played for us, and you know, it's a shame he went to Real and had that awesome debut. That pretty much sold his career out. But yeah, Woodgate and Colaccini for me.
All right, interesting. Demi, are you going to swear to Colaccini, or have you got someone else to chuck in the pot here?
No, definitely Colaccini's one of them. He was sensational for us and probably one of our best defenders, I think, for the last 20, 30 years easily. But I'm going to side here with with Keegs and go with Philippe Albert. I just think for that's the team that we had in the mid-90s and the part that he played. I mean, for a centre-half to contribute 8 goals and 10 assists, I mean, that's better than half our wingers and attackers do these days. So I think...
that's
probably a lot. That was probably a lot to do with the entertainers, though. When
it was, it was, but that's probably contributing. You just can't give it for me. You can't. I'd love to give it for W's us. He's a solid player, but he's not in this level. I just can't give it
ability.
Hey,
well, if you're going for centre back, surely you got to go for defensive ability. And Albert wasn't that great of a defender, to be honest. Personally, anyway. My opinion.
You don't need to have 2 absolute stars at the back. I think Colaccini could be your rock, and Albert would be your what's his name? Beckenbauer, Shira, just charging forward and scoring goals, contributing assists. I honestly think you can't give it to Woodgate, who's only played a handful of games for us. He's talent-wise clearly one of the top centre backs in England, let alone in Newcastle, but just didn't play enough for us.
Mm-hmm. You love Woodgate, though, don't you, Craig?
Sorry?
You love Woodgate, though, don't you?
I do. It was so devastated with the amount of injuries he picked up. And, he could have been an absolute force for us. But, when Real Madrid come knocking, you don't really turn them down, do you?
No.
Yeah. All right, so we actually have 2 for Albert. We have 3 for Colaccini. So Colaccini's a lock-in. There we go. That's 1. 2 for Albert and 1 for Woodgate. I guess Albert wins it as well on the balance of simple majority. So there you go for that one. My choices, I wasn't really sure who to pick out of this. To be honest with you, it's quite a difficult one. I've got like a kind of a romantic attachment somehow to Dabazas. I don't know why that is. Philippe Albert obviously scored that goal against Man United, and that's basically all everyone ever remembers about him. Colaccini, but I don't know, something about that in that team at that sort of time just doesn't really quite fit for me. Woodgate is just obviously a crock. And then you got Desert Peacock, which I can't really remember too much about, unfortunately. So yeah, happy to go with what you've got there, which is Colaccini and Philippe Albert in the centre. All right, nice one. Let's move on. Ticking along nicely. Here we go. Right back. So our mate Warren Barton, 158 appearances, 4 goals and 14 assists. Andy Griffin, 76 appearances, 2 goals and 1 assist. Aaron Hughes, 205 appearances, 4 goals and 10 assists. And then you got Ryan Taylor over the wall, 92 appearances, 6 goals, 10 assists. Want to pick one out of this list? Who went first last time? It was Keegan. So Craig, I think you're next.
First choice. This is a really tough one. It's either between Warren Barton and Aaron Hughes.
Mm-hmm.
Warren Barton, just because he was just a perfect professional. He knew exactly what the club was about. He still talks fondly about the club now, and he was a fantastic player for us. But Aaron Hughes, he kind of went under the radar. Cracking player. Sold far too early by Souness, I think. Could have got a few extra seasons out of him. And I think I will go for Aaron Hughes. I just think he was just maybe the better all-round wing-back / right-back player, which might confuse you on that one, but I think he's better.
He it felt to me like when we sold him that everyone suddenly afterwards realised how good he was. Like at the time he sort of just took it for granted, and then he went, was it Fulham or something he went to, and then
Fulham, yeah.
And then he ended up being like great still, and everyone was like, oh, you know what, actually he was all right. So Aaron Hughes for Craigie. Dimmy?
Yeah, for me, I agree with Craig. Aaron Hughes, I think, was severely underrated. Was very disappointed when we sold him to Fulham. I thought he was a fantastic player for us, a solid probably 7.5, 8 to 7 out of 10 every week. He was very reliable at right back. I think as well he probably could have pushed for higher honours more than he did. I think he did have that talent. If he stayed longer with us, I think potentially he could have broken through into the English team. But it's hard. I'd love to give it to Ryan Taylor because obviously he's fantastic goals that he scored for us, but he hasn't played enough for us. And I don't think he was a pure right back. He played really right back, left back, wing, midfield. He played everywhere. So Aaron Hughes for me is a good choice.
Fair enough. I think he was one of those kind of consummate professional types, wasn't he? He just got on with his job, a bit like a James Milner sort of thing. Didn't necessarily have to do anything spectacular, but just cracked on. Keegan, are you going to pick someone else? I mean, you're kind of stuffed anyway. There's already two for Hughes.
Yeah, no, I was going to go Hughes anyway. I just got one interesting question. If we'd done this in 2 years' time, would your decision change?
I was thinking about that for the centre back as well, actually, especially with the likes of Botman having just signed. Who we got right back right now? Oh, we've got Trippier, haven't we?
Trippier.
And
so I suppose it all depends how he lasts. If he gets a few games under his belt, you know. I've got this horrible niggling feeling that he's going to get injured a lot. I don't know what it is, but anyway, yeah.
The first impressions last. That's probably why.
Probably.
But yeah, I think if he stays fit for the next 2 seasons and plays like he did when he did play, I think we'd all probably pick Kieran Trippier in 2 years' time.
Probably.
Yeah.
But he's not, so Hughes it is.
I just think when you mentioned Aaron Hughes playing for England, I was thinking, hold on, isn't he Irish? I just checked that.
Irish, yes.
Just started checking in case I was losing my mind, you know. I was like, no, he's bloody Irish, man. Yeah. Fine. All right. So that's 3 for Hughes. He's actually one with Colaccini.
What have your pick been then, Lee?
I would have went with Aaron Hughes as well. Yeah, I think he was, like I say, one of those consummate professionals. He cracked on with the job. He's really reliable, if I remember rightly, and didn't complain, didn't dive, he was just there. He was rock solid. And like I say, when he left, I do distinctly remember people saying, "Oh shit, he was actually a lot better than I kind of remembered." You know, people sort of realised he was actually fairly decent because he had, I forget how many seasons he had at Fulham, but it wasn't just like a few games and he was off. He was there
for a while. Yeah, he would have been there for 5 or 6 years at least, I think.
He played till he was quite old, I think, if I'm remembering.
Mid-30s, mid-30s or late 30s, yeah. He got
just goes to show.
Just
goes to show what kind of pro he is. You know, he obviously looked after himself, did all the right things. And yeah, I think I would have picked him. Ryan Taylor.
He came to our youth academy as well, I think. I'm pretty sure he came to the youth academy too, which is a rarity these days for us.
I mean, I like Warren Barton as well. I thought he was a terrific player. Wonderful centre Barton, Warren Barton, centre Barton, beautiful. I don't actually remember a great deal about Andy Griffin. It's funny, I can't really sort of pick in my head much about him, even though obviously I recognise the name. But yeah, no, Aaron Hughes would have been my pick. All right, so that's right back done. Let's move on to left wing. We got a naked Laurent Robert, 129 appearances, 22 goals and 29 assists. Absolutely fantastic stats there. David Ginola, and now this is going to be difficult because you can only pick one out of this list. David Ginola, 58 appearances, 6 goals, 12 assists. Not quite as good as you might remember. Jonas Hugeles, 187 appearances, 11 goals and 18 assists. And Alan Saint-Maximin, of course, 86 appearances, 11 goals and 13 assists. Actually, quite a lot more than I thought you had. Who went first? Craig. So, Dimmy, you get the honours of going for this one first.
I'm going to go with Laurent Robert. I just think the man on his day was just unplayable. He had probably one of the cleanest strikes of the ball that I've ever seen on his left peg. Was showtime to watch. He was just unbelievable. Anytime we got a free kick or any set piece anywhere near the 18-yard box, you'd thinking he's going to score this.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really upset the way he left the club and the way it sort of ended with aforementioned Souness as well. I think that was disappointing. I think he could have had a longer career. He was one of those mavericks, as they say, similar to your Ben Arthurs and your Maxis, who probably couldn't control them for as long as we would have liked. But talent-wise, and I think even as you see his stats there, 22 goals, 29 assists, he definitely put it on the scoreboard. And yeah, for me, he was must-watch TV every week.
Oh, he was absolutely sensational. Keegan, who do you like?
Yeah, I agree with Dimmy. The only thing I'd sort of like to correct him on is if Robert was anywhere within 35 yards of goal, you probably thought he was going to put it in. Fair. Not as close as what you said, but yeah, I think Ginola didn't play enough. Gutierrez is a workhorse, but I don't think his end product was anywhere near where it should have been, and that was the knock on him. The whole career, wasn't it? Really, like he never finished properly, and and Maxi probably just hasn't done enough to get there. So yeah, Robert
Fair
for
enough.
me.
Yep. So that's 2 for Robert. Craig, you're kind of stuffed anyway, but what was your pick?
Well, to start, if we were talking about Trippier before, we revisit this in 2 years' time. Maybe some Maximan could be out there. Maybe. Gutierrez, dick. Again, workhorse, done everything that you'd want from the club. Scored that sensational goal against West Ham to keep her up. Big emotional moment for everybody involved there. Ginola,
let's be honest, that was a shit shot as well, though. I mean, that goal should never win.
Deflected as well. Yeah, it was deflected.
He scuffed it, deflected, and fair enough. Yeah, the celebration was the best part of that whole thing.
Cupney's yells to make Ashley, I think it was.
Yeah, exactly.
But David Ginola just didn't contribute enough, as far as I'm concerned. So it's a clean sweep for Lauren Robert. I think the term "thunder bastard" was invented for his left foot. It was genuinely. It was. Remember the 2 goals he scored against Spurs?
The Spurs, the 4-0. Yeah, it was unbelievable. Yeah.
Just he staged his own goal of the month competition.
I mean, he was just a magician, wasn't he? He was absolutely brilliant. Played with a smile on his face as well, which often you didn't get, with some of the other guys. Loved him. Absolutely loved Robert. Fair enough. So that's Robert on the what wing here left. So let's have a look at centre midfield. Now, this is going to be interesting, I think, this one. You've got 2 choices out of this list. I'm going to start here, obviously. You've got Gary Speed, the Wales legend, appearances, 213, 29 goals and 14 assists. You got Rob Lee, 251 appearances, 33 goals and 29 assists. Unbelievable. You got the late great Czech Tiote, 139 appearances, 1 magnificent goal and 6 assists. You've got the maestro, the midfield maestro, Peter Beardsley, and if you don't pick him, there's going to be trouble. On 127 appearances, 50 goals and 26 assists. You've got Johan Kebab, 79 appearances, 17 goals and 10 assists. I almost typed that in and I forgot I didn't do it. And then you got David Batty, the battle axe in the middle there, 75 appearances, 3 goals and 4 assists. Keegan, I think it's your turn. Who do you like?
All right. Let's start fighting now. I'm gonna take Gary Speed and Johan Kebab.
Oh, you've got to be kidding! Right? Okay.
What?
Because what are we picking here?
The players.
Yeah. What team? What sort of team are we picking?
The best one.
The Premier League 11.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How many of Beardsley's years did he play in the Premier League?
Enough for you to pick on, Bonnie lad.
No.
He still scored 50 goals and 26 assists in his Premier League career for the team. That's phenomenal.
Reach.
Kabai's the maestro who pulled the strings, and Gary Speed is the workhorse. We don't need goals because we've got every other player that's attacking who can score all the goals.
All right. So no love for Rob Lee or my mate.
Nah.
Or David Batty.
They're stiff. They are stiff. And like I said earlier, if we had this conversation in 2 years' time, I think Bruno would be in there as well.
And Joe Linton.
Yeah.
What a bloody turnaround that is.
Yeah, I think you would have said that 12 months ago.
Still can't believe it, man. It's ridiculous. Who's next? Craig. Who do you like?
I'm going to totally piss on your bonfire here, Keegan. Fuck off with that.
I'll not do that. I'll not do that again. I'm sorry.
I'm going with the Geordie Messi, Peter Beardsley. You know, Lionel Messi actually sleeps in Peter Beardsley pajamas. It's true. It's a fact.
I suppose you're not to say Peter Beardsley.
And Rob Lee.
Rob Lee.
I think the other players on there, they would walk into most Newcastle midfields, but I think Rob Lee and Peter Beardsley are just head and shoulders above. Love Gary Speed as a player. Tiote was an absolute beast of a man. Kebab, like Keegan said, pulled the strings. But he did bottle it a bit when he asked for that transfer, which really, really pissed me off at times. And David Batty just didn't play enough. So Beardsley and Rob Lee.
All right, this is getting interesting. So we've got Speed, Kebab, Beardsley, and Rob Lee. Which means we're not going to get a consensus on you, Demi, which means I'm going to have the deciding vote probably. Who's your pick? Who's your 2 picks, rather?
My 2 picks. You got to get Peter Beardsley the team. I mean, even I, who's in very infant stage of my life, I can still appreciate how he performed for the club. So you got to pick him in the team, and I'm shocked that this one wasn't a consensus. I think Gary Speed for me should be a consensus pick in our team. I think he was an absolute general. I've got his signed photo on my wall still at home. He was a sensational player. So sad to see him go so soon, just like with Sheikh Tiote. And I think Gary Speed, he was just an absolute. I'd call him the general. Really, he was just the general in the middle of the park. He just controlled the pitch, controlled the. You felt safe with him on the pitch. I'm not sure how else to describe it. When he was playing, you thought, yeah, he'll sort out the middle of the park.
Yeah, exactly. 29 goals and 14 assists as well. It's not like he was just there kind of breaking a player. I think he actually contributed a fair amount to the team, didn't he?
Good.
I mean, he was some player with Speedo. Sadly taken far too early. Well, in that case, we do actually have a consensus. I think I got ahead of myself a little bit. So we've got Speed with 2 and Beasley with 2. Just well, Bobby's not here because he would never have said Beasley. He would have picked, he would have picked somebody else. Like, he would have picked Joe Linton, even though he's not on the list. I have to say that would have been my picks, actually. I would have picked Gary Speed and I would have picked Beasley, absolutely. Beasley, I had a signature once when I was a kid. Yeah. And that's probably why he's my favourite, And then some kid nicked it at school. I wasn't very happy about that. But he was just legendary. Even if he did bugger off for 5 years to Liverpool or whatever, he was still, Jody through and through, still a hell of a player. Still at the club as well, isn't he? Or did he get kicked out? I forget what happened.
He got kicked out.
Yeah.
How can you criticize Kabay for handing in a transfer request but Beardsley gets off scot-free for tormenting the under 23s or the youth
team?
Well,
he'd finished playing by then. We're talking about players, aren't we? Yeah.
Oh, you say you just pick and choose, pick and choose
bad things. No, that's what this thing is. That's what this whole thing is. That's what we're doing here. We're picking and choosing, you Raji.
Playing career as well.
All right. That's great. I'm happy with that. Speed on Beasley. Brilliant. Let's see. Right hand wing. So we have Keith Gillespie, part exchange for a one Andy Cole. 107 appearances, 12 goals and 10 assists. The legend Nobby Solano, 232 appearances, 37 goals and 52 assists. Unreal. Kieran Dyer likes a bit of a scrap. Appearances 190, 23 goals and 26 assists. Not bad, really. And then you got Hutton Ben Offer, 76 appearances, 13 goals and 10 assists. I forget who went first on the last one. Who's next?
I'll go first then.
Go first, Craig.
If Ben Arthur hadn't have broke his leg, maybe could have been up there as a very, very strong contender. Is like a top 2 to pick from. But it has to be Nobby Solano, doesn't it? I mean, he's head and shoulders above the competition there. It's not even funny. And he had 2 spells at the club, and he was absolutely brilliant in both of those 2. It has to be Nobby all day long.
Nobby and his trumpet. Yeah, I would agree. Dimmy?
Yeah, absolutely. It's Nobby. He was a magician, icon, and like you said, in both his spells was terrific. I was just sad. Ben Arthur's talent-wise, for me, probably one of the best players ever to play in England, but he had a lot of other things going upstairs, and obviously with that horrendous tackle by Nigel de Jong at the Emirates or whatever their stadium's called these days, that was Etihad. Yeah, that was awful to see, and I think it's a sad sight to see him only play those games for us. When he did play, I thought he was unplayable at times. So sad for Ben Arthur, but definitely Nobby Solano, just an absolute magician.
Yeah. And Keegan?
Yeah, no, I'm going for the Peruvian trumpet player myself. It's a no-brainer.
Sounds like an online sex name or something, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I imagine. I imagine. I've absolutely no idea.
Is Lee's OnlyFans name?
I should have thought about that.
Add Peruvian trumpet if you want to look him up.
I bet you there probably is someone. Yeah, there probably could be someone there.
You have to be Peruvian trumpet 78247 or something.
You're putting too much thought into this now, Keegan.
Yeah, sorry. You've sidetracked
we're all on some kind of list now, having said that. So no love for Kieran Dyer. On his day, when he's pissed, when he wasn't injured and stuff, he was unbelievable. Nobody feel like he might.
He's just a shit bloke. He's a shit bloke, so stuff him.
Yeah, he was. Fair enough.
Yeah, I think he still
Shit
is.
stuff on. Oh, that's the best argument for anything, that one. All right. And I mean, Keith Gillespie, obviously, he came under a cloud, didn't he, when Keegan flogged off Cole? But he was terrific down the wing as well, you know. He was lightning fast.
I always fell out when he crossed the ball, though.
Yeah, well, still though, he was still a very effective player in that team. But yeah, you'd be mad if he went beyond Nobby Solano. I remember when Michael Owen signed, you know, the great Michael Owen, and I went to the ground to see his unveiling, you know, and he gets up on the stage and he starts waving around and "Oh, we're the tune" or something. He says, like, really bad Geordie accent. And then halfway through his presentation, the whole crowd just starts singing "Nobby Solano," and I actually legit felt really bad for Michael Owen, because I thought, you know, this is him being unveiled to the entire Leazes end here, and we're all just singing about Nobby Solano, you know, because we wanted him. The reason why, though, was because we wanted to sign him back so that he could whip in the balls for Michael Owen to be the end of. That's basically why it was, you know. We all wanted him back, and we got him as well, which is brilliant. Unlike Michael Owen. All right, so moving on now. All right. Centre forward position. You can pick two. One of them is already a banker. Let's start at the top. There's 8 to choose from here. So Alan Shira, of course, everyone's going to pick him. 303 appearances, 148 goals, and 39 assists. Absolutely ridiculous. Celez Ferdinand, only 67 appearances, 41 goals and 14 assists. You've got Demba Ba, 54 appearances, 29 goals and 2 assists. Not a bad return. Pape Cisse with the largest leap of any man I think I've ever seen. Look at him up there.
He's a salmon.
He's almost above the bloody goal. 117 appearances, 37 goals, including that ridiculous banana one at Chelsea, and 6 assists. You've got upside down Tino Sprilia, 48 appearances, 9 goals, and 14 assists. You have Craig Bellamy, the only man who could walk into an empty room and have an argument with himself, as Sir Bobby Robson once said. I might be paraphrasing that, but that's basically what he said. 87 appearances, 29 goals, including a fantastic one in Europe, and 13 assists. Then you've got Andy Cole, 58 appearances, 43 goals, and 15 assists. And then you've got Andy Carroll, Dimmy lookalike, 117 appearances, 32 goals, and 17 assists. Craig, you went first, so I'm going to give the honour to Dimmy to start us off with. You've already got Anna Shira. I'm just going to put Shira down. I'm just going to put Shira down for 3 here. Shira times 3. Nobody argue, or you're off. Right. Who's the other one? Who's the other one that you're picking?
It's a tough one. I've been tossing up between 2, and I think I'm going to have to go with Celez. I just think.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm going to go with Celez. I just don't think. I mean, Andy Cole's record was ridiculous, but him going to Manchester United really got up my goat. So I don't really want to think about that time and him leaving the club. I think, again, Celez left, but he went to Tottenham. Big deal. Tottenham, shit club. Doesn't really matter. So
shit blokes.
Yeah, shit club and shit blokes. Nah. So Les, for me, I think his record, his partnership was fantastic. I just don't think those other ones there. Demba Ba didn't play enough. Cisse started like a house on fire, then couldn't score in anywhere. Andy Carroll, same thing, and Bellamy's just a nut job. So I don't think we can pick them. And so I think by default, not by default, but by process of elimination, Sir Les gets the vote.
Well, speaking of nut jobs, Tino, not tempted by the fur coat wearing, gun wielding Colombian lunatic?
He's got his own brand of condoms, you know.
Of course he has, man. He's a stallion. He's an absolute stallion.
He does.
He's a bloody legend. But no love for Tino. All right, fair enough. Keegan?
Yeah, no, I went down Timmy's route as well, the process of elimination. I didn't count Tino because he was the first heartbreaker I ever had in life. It was my first name on the back of a jersey, and he left the next year. And I remember trying to peel it off because I cracked the shit. And I still haven't got over it, so I'm not going to pick him. But yeah, I'm going to pick Ferdinand as well. Purely, him and Andy Cole are similar goals and stuff like that. But the first sort of half a season of Andy Cole, he was in Division 1 as well, so he wasn't actually a Premier League player. So I'm going to go for Ferdinand.
Fair enough. I mean, he still did 58 appearances, did Andy Cole, and scored 43 goals, mate. You know, in the Prem.
Yeah, but you take at least 10 of them off because they were in Division 1 anyway.
No, these are Premier League appearances.
Are they Premier League appearances?
Yeah, mate, we've been through this. We're at the end of the whole thing. How are you asking this question now?
You can't change my mind. I'm picking Ferdinand. Stop trying to put words in my mouth, all right?
All right, fair enough. It's just a shame Castor didn't make that Australia shirt, isn't it? Because it would have turned up without a name on anyway.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have had to worry about it too much.
It would be printed on the front, probably.
Sent to the wrong house. Craig, we've already got 3 for Shira because I'm not even bothering to ask that one. And we've got 2 for Liz. So what are you doing? What do you reckon?
I've never vacillated so much in who I want to partner Shira up front.
Wait a minute. Vacillated? I'm going to have to look that one up. Vacillated? Is that like Vaseline? Just anyway, go on.
Totally different word. And Sir Les, because he had that partnership with Shira in the Entertainers. But Andy Cole, in his prime with Newcastle, in that season where he scored, I think it was 43 goals in a 40-game season back then. It's still a record now. And that just phenomenal goal-scoring record. And when you partner him and Biadzi together, who I always picked in the squad, is just unbeatable. Still the highest scoring partnership in Premier League history. And for me, Shira and Andy Cole. Sir Les is the closest second you can possibly get. But yeah, Andy Cole just nicks it for me. Not that it makes a difference.
No, because you've already been outvoted. So no love for Shola, anyway.
Shola.
Well, I was going to mention Cisco, but you know.
Oh, it's centre forward?
Yeah, Cisco's a centre forward.
Oh yeah, okay. Shira for 3, Les for 2, and 1 for Andy Cole. I think probably I'm surprised. Yeah, definitely with Shira, obviously. I don't know. You can see the reasons for picking Les, can't you? But I think just romantically, again, I think I would have went with Andy Cole, to be honest with you. Because he was dynamite. Let me tell you, kids, he was dynamite. When
will we get Sir Alan Shearer?
Yeah, that's a good question. He's already an NBA, isn't he? Or is he an OBE?
He is, aye.
Well, won't be too long. Do a bit more charity work or something. Suck up to the PM. That gets you through, doesn't it?
He's got his own foundation. He still can't get in.
Yeah, no. Ridiculous, mate. Ridiculous. All right, so that's the outfield 11. One last one to do on the slides here. Look at that. Kevin Keegan, I love it. 162 games in management. He won 83, drew 36, and he lost 43 in that time in the Premier League. And the legend Sir Bobby Robson, 188 games, 83 wins, 51 draws, 54 losses. I think, Craig, it's your turn again. Could be wrong. Yeah.
Could we not just get like a mold of the two, like have a Sir Bobby Keegan or something like that, because that would just be ideal, wouldn't it? This is probably the hardest one to pick out of all of them, I'd say. But for me, because it's pretty much where my love started with Newcastle, albeit we were in the lower leagues back then. But my earliest memories of the Entertainers and stuff, it's got to be Keegan. Just the football we played back then, it was just a different level. And we were probably one of the most attractive attacking football teams in world football at the time. And I was heartbroken when my dad brought home that copy of The Pink and Keegan had quit. And I was just devastated. And I think like everybody else was, it was just one of those moments because he quit in like December, I think it was, like fairly early into the season or whatever. And Shira only played like a handful of games for him. But yeah, I love the man, and I think everybody else does on Tyneside. And where the fuck's his statue? Where's Keegan's statue? He needs one. He really does. But yeah, Keegan for me.
Fair enough. Unexpected swear there. Nice one. Dimmy, what do you reckon?
The same reasons for Craig. Obviously, I'm of a different. No disrespect to you lads, on a different vintage. So my growing up and my earliest memories of live football was with Sir Bobby and his team. So I'm going to go with Sir Bobby. I just think he had us top 4 basically every season, or for 2 or 3 seasons in a row, pushing the top 3 and pushing the top 2. Sorry, at the time I think it was Manchester United and Arsenal, and we were right there to challenging. And I think we dropped one season 5th or 6th, and we all started panicking. Oh my God, why aren't we top 4? Why aren't we top 4? But Sir Bobby was an absolute genius, and it's not like we played unattractive football with him. We still played great football. I just pity if we had a back 4 behind or in front of Shay Given, I think we could have done something really special. But for me, Sir Bobby Robson was the one to pick it out of these two.
Fair enough. So we have Keegan once, I think, and Robson once. Keegan. Who do you like out of this list? Is it Kevin Keegan by any chance?
It might be, yeah. Thankfully, my parents would kill me if I called someone else. Lucky John Carver wasn't in charge when I was born. I'm not a carbon car.
Time holidays.
But Bobby was fantastic. I mean, what he did for the club, and he picked them up when they were pretty down, like after Root had left, and I think the place was in a bit of disarray, and he managed to get everyone together and fought back and got everyone up the table. But I mean, yeah, Keegan's a legend, and the sooner he comes back and shows his face around the club, I think, yeah, the better off the whole place is going to be. And yeah, I can't wait. Hopefully it's this year or this season when he just comes to a game, and whether he's on the pitch or in the stands and just gives a wave to everyone, it'd bring the house down. So hopefully that happens sooner rather than later.
Absolutely. So that's 2 for Keegan, 1 for Robson. I think I would pick Keegan as well. It is a really difficult choice though. There's a lot of heartstrings with Bobby, of course, for obvious reasons. But Keegan saved the club really when you think about it. We were going down, man. We were just goosed. We were gone, and we managed to stay up that season. And then next season we just destroyed the league. And he just had everyone believing, didn't he? Everyone just believed everything that he said, and should have won that bloody title if he hadn't had mind games from Sir Alex Ferguson. And he lost his shit. I love it. Just on that picture I've got on the screen there, it's such a shame. Of course, he left under a bit of a cloud. I forget the reason why he left even, but with Sir Bobby, absolute gentleman. I think he should have been at the club a lot sooner than he was, unfortunately. He lost the dressing room at the end, didn't he, when all those shithead players like Bellamy, for example, and Dyer were all starting to think they were bigger than the team, bigger than the manager, and ultimately that ended up costing him his job. Freddie fucking Shepherd. Oh, I don't think Bobby Robson's the kind of bloke you sack. Fucking next season, sacked from Freddie Shepherd. I absolutely hated Freddie Shepherd. Absolutely hated him. You should never have ever sacked Bobby Robson. Ever. No. He should have got moved upstairs. He should have been let go the way he wanted let go. If that was going to happen, he would have accepted it, but not the way he did it. It was absolutely disgraceful. Freddie Shepherd, fuck you. All right, so moving on. Probably going to get haunted now tonight. So we have completely finished that. I'm quite surprised we got through all that. Not too bad a time. I'm just going to very quickly ask a couple of more. I didn't do slides for them because I ran out of time. But favorite kit manufacturer in the Premier League. So we had Asics, Adidas, Puma, and Castle. Imagine Castle. Very quickly, what do you reckon? Asics, Adidas. Well, it's only them two, isn't it? Let's be honest. Who would say Asics? Who would say Adidas? It's probably going to be Adidas.
Adidas.
Adidas. Adidas. You've got one. You're going to say Asics, right?
No, that one there. That's the best kit of all time.
No.
So, what's that? 3 for Adidas?
Yep.
That's 2 for Adidas and 1 for Asics. What are you doing, Keegan? You were pointing out.
No, Adidas for sure.
Yeah, sponsored Adidas. Fair enough. And favorite shirt sponsor, which is a bit of a weird thing to say when you consider it's just bloody advertising for some weird company. But anyway, we had Blue Star very briefly. Then we had McEwen's, best Scotch or lager. Newcastle Brown Ale, of course. NTL. A lot of the Champions League stuff was done with NTL. Northern Rock, Virgin, Wonga, and then our current people, Fun 88. So I'll just ignore those last few. I think it's probably between. Well, it's probably going to be Brown Ale, isn't it? Let's be honest. Who doesn't think Brown Ale?
Brown Ale is iconic, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, the two go together, like ham and peas pudding. They really do. They're as good as they should be. Yeah, Brown Ale has to win that one, I think.
Keggy, you being quiet?
No, I'm all for that. Brown Ale.
Same Brown Ale?
Yeah.
Timmy, same again, Brown Ale?
Brown Ale, yep.
Alrighty. Excellent. We did it, lads. For the entire world, we've just picked the best Newcastle United 11 in the Premier League. How good are we? Absolutely brilliant. All right, so let's read them out from the start then. Goalkeeper, Shea Given. Left back, Ollie Bernard. Centre back was Colaccini and Philippe Albert. We had the right back of Aaron Hughes. Left wing of Robert. Centre midfield of Gary Speed and Peter Beardsley. The right wing was Nobby Solano. Who else? Centre forward, Shira. Who else? And Sir Les. Manager was Kevin Keegan. The kit was Adidas, and the sponsor was Newcastle Brown Ale. How good's that sound?
Imagine that 11 now.
I
In
was
the
going to
prime.
say, where's that finishing this season coming?
Top.
Just top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Kevin De Bruyne has gotten out on Peter Beardsley, has he?
I just love it as a Geordie saying Peter Beardsley. It just rolls off the tongue. There. Yeah, Peter Beardsley, like Peter Beardsley. I loved him, man. He had like a face off to the shops and the chambers coming back. It was the change, wasn't it? It was brilliant, man. Everything about him was a legend. He was just he was the original ball dribbling maestro, man. He was just absolutely sensational.
Yeah.
I love Peter Beardsley.
Phenomenal.
I love you. Come on the podcast, Peter. I love you, man. I love you. All right.
Actually, I don't think they'll go. I don't think that side would go too good in the Premier League.
Oh,
in the
shut up,
current
man.
day.
It's brilliant, man.
They're
It's
too
absolutely
old,
brilliant.
mate. Like it's.
We are no,
they're
no.
old.
What the teams did?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like they'll be too
We
short
got,
already.
hang on. We've got Gary Speed in the
Yeah.
team. Poor Gary Speed, it's no longer with us, Keegs. Of course, we're not
That's what
talking
I
about
mean.
it just now.
That struggle.
I know. Brownhill doesn't exist. Oh, yeah, man. There's a chance, will you?
It does. You can still buy it, can't you?
It doesn't exist in the real place. You know, it's from Yorkshire or some box now. Anyway,
Yeah.
all right, lads. Thanks very much. We actually managed to get there in the end. Wasn't as bad as I thought. Anyway, so we're going to wrap up now. Just before we finish, we do have a quick announcement. As you can see on screen here, Aussie Mags are, I don't know if they're arranging it, but they're definitely involved in the planning of the 2022 National Australia meetup for all Newcastle fans. It's going to be happening on the 16th and 17th and into the 18th of September in Sydney at Cheers Bar, I believe. You can buy tickets online, $30. I think most of that's going to go to charity, so it's just a nice little charity raising event there. And it'll be getting donated to Dylan oh no, I knew this was going to happen.
Tom Beaters.
Yeah, that one. And also the Sir Bobby Robson Foundation. God, I almost got through that without getting the name wrong, and I get the charity name wrong at the end. Unbelievable. So if you fancy joining us, everyone's welcome, I understand. We are actually planning on doing a live 200 podcast on Saturday night, just before we get into the game at 2:00 in the morning against Bournemouth. And I say we're planning on it because we'll probably all be absolutely shit-faced by the time it gets anywhere near that time at night. It'll be just a complete mess. But we'll see how that goes. It could be a good bit of fun. So if you fancy joining us in Sydney, or you want more details, dive onto Facebook and buy your tickets or find out all the information that you need from there. And I think that will do for us, lads. Thank you very much for your time. That Premier League 11 is absolutely sensational. I don't care what Keegan says. We will catch everyone next time. I don't even know what we're doing next. We're just trying to, we're waiting for the next signing, basically. We're kind of in a holding pattern, watching all the aeroplanes in the sky, hoping if one of them's got a player on them. Playing track and noncy thing that people like to do. I don't know. Anyway, so thanks, lads, for joining us. Cheers, Craig. Cheers, Keegan. Cheers, Dimmy.
No worries,
Thanks,
mate.
mate.
Yeah, don't all dive in there with a cheers, by the way.
Cheers, Lee.
People on audio are going, what happened here? Is it ended? You're all just sitting there nodding away, you dafties. All right, that'll do for us. Thanks very much. I need to find the outro. There is it. There it is. All right, cheers, guys. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Chill, lads.